Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to your new Jackrabbit Illustrated B-Team spin-off show.
Scared money don't make money.
That's right, folks. Scared money don't make money. The spin-off show from the B-Team with Ben and Brendan making their picks against the spread just like old times, with the addition of Alex Kenkel and his computer model that is featured weekly on JackrabbitIllustrated.com. As usual, the B-Team and all Jackrabbit Illustrated podcasts are live on the Jackrabbit Illustrated Facebook and Twitter pages, along with being live on the SDS Fans Nation YouTube channel. Also, if you don't catch us live, be sure to tune in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or any major podcast outlet in between. As always, the B-Team is brought to you by our title sponsor, Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. If you need a tractor, utility vehicle, construction equipment, zero-turn motors, parts, service, and more, there's always a Kubota dealer near you with 8 locations across the great state of South Dakota. Stop in today and get yourself into some orange equipment. And we would also like to thank our segment sponsor, Cubby's Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Brookings. If the Jacks are out of town, you need a place to watch them. Head on down, get some Chislick cheese curds, beer, and burgers. And now, without further ado, scared money don't make money. What is up, B-Team Mafia? Thanks for joining us again. Per protocol, we are late, but that is just the way of the world. If you're not used to it by now, then you haven't been watching. Yeah, Jim says fade Ben, get rich time. That yeah, we gotta talk. We'll talk about that later. But I do have to also mention our other segment sponsor, new to this year, is Blue Tide Car Wash. Thank you to Blue Tide Car Wash for being a segment sponsor for us as well. Naturally, thank you to Kubota Dealers of South Dakota for being title sponsor for Jackrabbit Illustrated, and Cubbies for being our show sponsor. Rockstars, Cubbies, Sports Bar and Grill, downtown Brookings, the place to go to catch Jackrabbit action. The Rev says, "Do I need to come be Ben and make more picks?" You should have
He's here,
been me
Dustin.
this week. Spoiler alert: this is the worst week I've ever had on record, and I think I've had a couple that were close-ish, but I don't think I've ever had one quite this bad percentage-wise. In news that might surprise people, Ben ran into some weather, and with how fine he cuts time, he was literally driving.
I'm here. Yeah.
You made it.
A little sketchy.
You look fancy. Did you go out to dinner?
No, it was a fundraising event or whatever.
For your mayoral campaign?
Ooh,
no, not for that.
no
the Kenkel model is going to be running for mayor pretty soon here.
Well, what happens if I lose in when I get to pick my own punishment?
I hate that a lot.
Jim, fade Ben, get rich time. I'm tied for second place right now, so it's not fade Ben, get rich. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's even a where is it at? It's a Jack.
It took my worst week. It took my worst week in history for you to catch me.
Hey, I didn't have a great week either, and I still caught you. So anyway,
there is that.
Do we want to recap those picks?
We may as well. We're here.
Let's get my misery over with here.
Let's do it. UC Davis took down Montana pretty handily, 30-14. Did either of you have a chance to watch that one?
I watched most of it. I fell asleep like right after Davis took the lead, so luckily I didn't miss a lot because Montana didn't score the rest of the game. But that was a good game. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, you were the only one that picked UC Davis. Congratulations on that. I wish that I would have listened to myself because I said that I was concerned about the 2 quarterback thing. And from the sounds of it, it just didn't work. It was just, disjointed. Yep. Their offense just couldn't get going. And so it'll be interesting to see if they go to 1 quarterback after this week.
I don't know how much national media stuff they do, but as you all know, my friend Tim Rosario had a really good article about that, looking at success rate with both quarterbacks, and it's not close. Fife is way better than Ayat, and even Ayat is considerably better than when they go back and forth. between the two. I mean, it's like whoever that commentator used to always say, if you got two quarterbacks, you got none.
This is very true. Yeah, so we'll see if Houck gets things squared away there. Youngstown State snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. They led up, I think they were up by like 21.
28.
28. And
28 in the middle of the second quarter.
They ended up losing to Southern Illinois 37-33. Southern Illinois came all the way back and covered their 2.5 point favorite.
Made Scott Van Pelt's bad beats.
Good, because I was looking at that game going,
Good.
hey, I got one in the bag. So. and then I didn't, because it's time for more penguin feather pillows. Dirty bastards.
Or penguin fur pillows.
Speaking of penguin feathers, I got a good GIAI for that one. We'll see those shortly, though. And then Missouri State took down Murray State like everybody does, but they did give up 31 points to Murray State.
We'll get into that, but that defense is not good. So we'll get into that with the picks here this week, but that defense is suspect.
I would agree after that result. Illinois State took down UNI 31-39, covered. USD just absolutely whooped Indiana State 49-0, obviously covered. And then SDSU gets the cover, winning 38-7 at UND. Anything to say about the what are you giggling about over there?
How many times I'm going to say sock Lukey now that Kevin said he doesn't like it?
Is tired and dumb. I don't know. I like it. It's a gimmick, but I enjoy it. Any comments on the SDSU UND game? We didn't talk about it that much on the B Team podcast. Alex, you didn't get a chance to talk about it yet?
There wasn't much to talk about. I wrote about it and by the numbers, but it was only thing I would have liked better, which is extremely nitpicky, is they don't give up a 60-yard touchdown, but that happens. That's football. You're going to have those. And I would have liked to see the ones finish one more drive. Their last two drives, they moved the ball, but stalled. Like I said, extremely nitpicky. Offense looked really good, really balanced. Defense terrorized UND on air, on the ground. It was really complete performance. Hard to say much else about it.
I would agree. Brendan, any closing thoughts on that game? It was just it was fun. It was a fun game. You after all the concern about how things go up there for most everybody, it was fun to just have them just absolutely dominate the entire game. Really dominated every part of that game. It was fantastic. Although I will point out, I saw on a certain board or post somewhere that somebody said that our game was it was a fluky game because we put up 28 points in the second quarter.
Fluky.
Okay.
That's just that is factually you didn't pay any attention.
Was this on
see it.
A board that's a village of nomadic North American mammals? Oh, that's where I would have expected that to come from.
No. They gleefully enjoy the dismantling of UND more than anything in the world, so that wasn't it. But so that made me laugh.
Are you still on AGS? Is that where you saw it?
No, it was on the Yotes board.
I haven't been on there forever.
I did listen to
I haven't gone on AGS in probably a year. Sorry, Brendan, you were saying.
It's all good. I listened to UND 360 and they mentioned we had 8. Jesus God, Chad. I'm gonna do it anyways. They said I didn't even start saying it yet, and he's like, "Quit quoting UND 360." What do you got against them, man? But
say, what's your beef with Kelly? He's a nice guy.
But we had 8 TFLs and 5 sacks, which is incredible. That's a pretty good game. So that's all I got.
Bad.
Just dominance. What is AGS? Oh, yeah. Okay, Kevin.
Yeah, like Kevin doesn't know what AGS is.
What is AGS?
With that, let's roll right into another acronym, JIAI. This week, my title slide features Brendan and his late night show after his party. Good time there. Oh yeah. So to recap the picks.
Whoa! What is this?
What?
Are we doing foot picks now? What is this?
It's the Kenkel model. Kenkel model.
Yeah.
Get it?
Okay.
But anyway, we do need to recap the picks. I went 2-4. The model went 1-5. Alex went 3-3, and Brendan went 0-6. Which
and
brings,
for the record,
go ahead.
Looking on your spreadsheet, it only has me as 0-5, but it only counts 5 on your total as well.
No, I updated it. I put the UC Davis Montana game in there.
Okay.
Yeah, so take it back. Brendan and I are tied at 41, 44, and 2. Alex is at 49, 36, and 2, and the model is in last place at 40, 45, and 2. Alex is starting to sweat a little bit. The model's starting to sweat a little bit. It's might be unplugged time for the model. We'll see.
If you want to know what happened this year, I was looking at ways to maybe freshen it up, change it up.
Don't you change it.
So I won't change it this year, but I threw S&P pluses. I threw S&P plus in, and S&P plus is kind of just dog water at FCS games. Like Massey, Sagarin, Alo, all pretty good. S&P plus dragging it way down if you look at those individual metrics. So we won't cook the books. We'll leave it in for this year, but S&P plus, sorry, Bill Connolly, coming back out next year.
The Rev says he went 3-3. Forgot to mention that. Next up, we had Alex popping off on Twitter about his cauliflower ear, and that's Dallas and Jake looking over him thinking there's no chance. Do you really think you'd have a chance against Dallas or Jake?
Yeah, if I get him on the ground.
Yeah, he's a wrestler. Of course he does.
Oh,
I'm not going to try standing up with him. I'm shooting a single leg and taking him down and holding him down. People hate to watch fights like that, but that's how you win fights.
I love it. Brendan laid the big old goose egg this week. Oh,
jeez, you are getting some mileage out of that picture, aren't you? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I regret nothing.
We had the UC Davis Aggies. Do you know why they're called the Aggies?
Probably agricultural stuff.
That's correct.
Oh, good at this.
They putting the Grizzlies to work on the farm. Stone
Lebanowitz.
I feel like this is what Stone thinks he looks like.
It's a very big
Stone
version of
looks like.
Stone Lebanowitz.
I mean, if you listen to Stone talk, this is definitely what like is in his mind as what he looks like. Yeah, and he the Salukis.
He's a bad dude, but that guy looks like he's about 240.
Yes, they took down the Penguins and knocked out all their feathers because they do have feathers. The Bears interrupted the race and killed one of the horses for the racers.
Hey, but Racer 1 got to run a bunch in that game.
That's
31
true.
points.
True.
That's true. They had that going for him. The Redbirds beat UNI so bad that Mark Farley decided to retire. In sincerity, Farley did announce his retirement, which is he was a good coach and he was good for the FCS, good for UNI. So congrats to him. The Yotes flexing their muscle, trying to prove to everybody that they really are a top 4 seed. They'll be able to prove it this week.
There's
I love that you somehow made it look like it's an insult anyway.
Well, you know.
So there's the weekly furry bait for everyone that watches for that. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, no problem. And then you had the Jacks. The Alaris Center was kind of the boogeyman, and they took it down without a problem at all. I can't remember if that's all I have. Hang on, let me check here. I don't want to spoil anything. Oh yeah, I won't spoil it. We'll show that later when we preview the Jacks game. With that, let's roll right into the picks for this week. We have a couple. The comments are just going crazy. By the way, is there anything we need to address in there?
Well, I feel like it sounds like there's a lack of innuendo in your AI this week.
Kevin's just missing it, or what? Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
Got feet picks for you and everything.
Yeah. What more do you want?
We had feet picks. We had furry bait. Sorry, we missed the humping, Kev.
We apparently either I need to drink more often before the Borg show or less. I'm not sure based on the comments.
I love it. Yeah. This week we got a couple out of conference games. The first one, Abilene Christian going to Tarleton. Alex, what does the model say in this one?
Well, what's the spread?
Tarleton's favored by 3 at home.
So Tarleton is going to cover per the model. Take the Texans by 5.6. I will disagree though. Both teams have really good offenses. In terms of gross offense, Abilene Christian's actually second in the country. And both teams have bottom half defenses. What's that tell you? Take the over, take Abilene to cover, and if you really want to get spicy with that same game parlay, take Abilene Christian money line.
I like it.
Yeah, I think I'm with Alex on this one. I mean, you lose to Eastern Kentucky, and then you have a bit of a dogfight with West Georgia, who's transitioning.
They've been decent this year, though. They've
been solid. They've put up a fight with a lot of people, but still, I mean, I don't know if you're the funniest thing about all of this was Tarleton being all up in themselves and tweeting the taking notes emoji after the top 10 dropped, and then proceeding to immediately lose the Eastern Kentucky. They wasted no time in screwing that up. That was phenomenal. But I mean, right now, yeah, we're taking notes. We don't want to be in that top 10 at all. Watch this.
Yeah, I have to agree in this one. I think that if it was, I think Abilene Christian will do enough to cover and possibly even win, like Alex said. So the model disagrees with us, but we'll see where that goes, considering how the model's done this year. Next up, we've got Montana State going to UC Davis in a massive game for seeding implications. And have we officially decided who we're rooting for here for seeding implications?
Well, I don't think it actually makes a difference. And the seeding implications it makes a difference on is whether you go to UC Davis or go to Montana State. And I'd probably rather go to Davis.
Unless I would rather go to Davis, so I probably want Davis to win. But if Montana State wins, then loses the brawl, we could jump to the 2. NDSU drops one of their last 2 games. We backdoor our way into the 1 seed maybe. But once again, as far as who we want to win, probably Davis, because that means going to Davis in the semis, which will be a much easier environment to play in than Bozeman.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Go ahead. Just sick of Montana State's fans being loud.
Right.
It would be nice to see them eat some pie, but that's okay.
Montana State is a 7-point road favorite in this one.
Model says Bobcats by 6.7. So Davis just barely getting the cover. Model thinks that's a very good line. I'll agree. I think
6 or 16.
6.7.
6.7.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, line 7. Never mind. I was looking at the wrong thing. That's my bad. Continue
you're
on.
good.
Pretend I'm not here.
So, with that said, I will take the Bobcats to cover. I don't think Davis's run defense is good enough. I think Montana State, Julius Davis, Tommy Mellott, all those other 500 running backs they have is really going to give Davis fits. I think Davis's offense can score enough to where it's not a complete blowout, but I think Montana State wins by more than a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take Montana State, even though it is on the road. I think they win by 10 plus. Davis has that feeling of really good team, but not a great team that's been going through and getting good wins, but they just aren't complete enough when it comes down to it, and they don't excel enough at what they are good at to go toe-to-toe with Montana State. I think Montana State's going to wear them out. And eventually they're going to start gashing them. Davis does have, I believe, like the second best run defense in the Big Sky, but
it's barely top 30 nationally.
Right.
Big fluffy.
Right. I was going to say second best run defense in the Big Sky isn't that big of a deal. It's like having the best eyesight at the school of the blind. So I'm going to say Montana State's just going to wear that defense out and end up pulling away. It could be even more than it could be 14-21 pretty easily. I would love for Davis too, just because I think it'd be fun to have, if Davis beats Montana State, as of now, I don't think I'll feel less about Montana State, but I'd feel more impressed with UC Davis, and it's just fun to have more top-end teams competing in the playoffs, so I would enjoy that part of it. And it's always felt like Davis has been on the precipice of being good for a while, so and just missing out, playing tough, but dropping games they shouldn't. So I'd like to see Davis win, but I think Montana State is too good.
Yeah, UC Davis had a big win against Montana. I'm just not convinced that Montana's really good. And
Montana State.
What's that?
Montana State.
No, he's talking about.
No, I'm saying that.
Okay. Never mind.
I'm just not convinced that, it's a big win, but I'm just not convinced that Montana's that good. And I think Montana State has the defense to stop UC Davis. And so I will take Montana State to cover as well. Next up, we have a late season FBS game. Murray State goes to Kentucky. And this spread is 49.5. Almost a 50 burger.
Model says Wildcats by 45.96. Racers to cover. I don't know. That's so many points. Kentucky hasn't been that good, but they are an SEC team playing Murray State, so there's something to be said for that. It's not that Kentucky can't win by 49. It's are they going to choose to win by 49? I haven't watched enough Kentucky this year. I haven't watched any Kentucky this year to have an educated opinion on that. So what the heck? I'll pick the Valley team for solidarity. Give me Murray State.
Every top Valley team has beaten Murray State by putting up a 50 burger on them. If an SEC team can't, then I never want to hear about the SEC again. Oh, it's a bad SEC team. I don't care. It's Murray State. They lost to Butler. You better put up 50 points on them. So I'm going to take Kentucky. I'm going to eat that whole bucket of points. General rule of thumb, if I actually had to bet money, I would not touch this game with a 30-foot pole. That's just woof. If you are betting the Murray State Kentucky game,
call the number.
Yeah, call the number. Exactly. Call the number. They have group meetings at churches usually, I think, and go see some people. So I'm going to take Kentucky to cover. And if I'm wrong, I'm not going to feel bad about it because this line is ridiculous.
I am too. I think Kentucky is looking for something to feel good about this season. They have had a pretty rough season in the SEC, and Murray State is just, there's no way, man. They're going to lose 60-something to 3, maybe 0. It's going to be a rough one for Murray State. So, yeah.
Naturally, Rev and Brian both immediately are placing bets on it. I'm placing bets on it now at this moment.
Perfect.
Excellent. Call the number, guys.
Northern Iowa going to Youngstown State. Youngstown State is a 6-point favorite at home.
Model, once again, thinks this is a good line. It says Youngstown by 5.79, so it's just barely taking the Panthers to cover. I don't know. I think Youngstown's better than UNI. It's Youngstown's last game of the year, so they're looking to build. Give me Youngstown to cover that, especially since it's in Youngstown. UNI doesn't really travel super great. Yeah, that's all I have to say about this. I just think Youngstown's better and it'll show up. Sorry, my thoughts are dragging on there.
The only thing that holds me back is the fact that Farley's retiring and that team comes together to get him the last couple. So I had to look up if their last game was at home. Is that they play Indiana State at home. I think that's the one where they're really gonna sell out. So I'm gonna take Youngstown State to cover. I just don't like even with Farley retiring, I just don't think this UNI team has it to do it. And I mean, YSU, outside of choking majorly this last game, has been playing better. So I guess I'll take YSU at home, but I don't really feel good about it. Brian, I'm on a podcast right now.
Michael.
Yes.
Michael, glad you made it to the show. We just said some nice things about Murray State. You just missed it.
That's not true. You tuned in at the perfect time because we're bad people, Mike. We're bad people.
I'll take Youngstown State here too. I think they're going to have a bad taste in their mouth after last week, and I don't think the Farley effect is going to do enough for UNI. Next up, we've got the Battle of the ISUs. Illinois State is a 14.5-point favorite on the road at Indiana State.
Model says Redbirds, but by 12.3. So trees are going to cover. I don't know. This is another weird one where Indiana State's been playing better recently, but so is Illinois State. Last week was probably the best Illinois State has looked all year. It's the most complete they've looked. Offense, defense, whole 9 yards. They're finally starting to get healthy. And if they want a top 16 seed, which they could get if they went out there 9-3, they're going to need to win this game, and they probably need a little bit of style points because their resume is not overly impressive. So I think the Redbirds will cover a 14.5-point spread.
Yeah, I completely zoned out. I was reading the comment. I'm like, oh, I got to check my DMs. Oh, I don't see anything. Brian, Brian said he was calling the gambling number and they didn't answer. For those of you who are wondering on the podcast version, that's what that was about. I am the phone number you call for bad advice. No, Chad, you should not call it. Seems the person manning the phone doesn't care really much. Well, you know what they say. I've got sympathy for you. It's in a dictionary right between shit and syphilis. It's yeah, I'll take the Redbirds to cover because why not? So the trees naturally are going to win this game outright because that's the way my picks have been going lately. They're going to go down 21 and then storm back to score 10 to cover at the end and ruin it with a last-second field goal.
So you're taking Illinois State?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Red versus blue.
I'll take Indiana State. It's senior day for them, and I think they're gonna have a bad taste in their mouth after their big loss to USD. And Illinois State, I mean, they looked okay last week, but that was against a bad UNI team. They just haven't impressed me a whole lot other than last week. So I'll take Indiana State. Next up, we've got USD going to UND, which is a massive game for USD. If you listen to the national FCS podcast, they talked about how if USD were to lose this game, they may be in a must-win situation against NDSU next week. So they need to make sure they take care of this one, and they're only favored by 10 at UND.
Model says Yotes by 10.96, so Yotes are just barely going to cover. I'll agree. After what I saw last week, I don't know. As much as it makes me feel absolutely gross to say it, USD is built very similar to how we are right now. Their defense is going to make life hard for UND's offense, and their offense is explosive enough to where they will put up plenty of points. So, yeah, I think Yotes cover 10 pretty easily, actually.
Yeah, this one, to me, that's a spicy meatball, this one. They haven't won there since 85, and I don't care. This isn't another awful matchup for UND. The Yotes are going to go out and raw dog them and beat them by 28. That's the way it's going to be. It's not a guess. It's what it's going to be. They're going to absolutely pummel them. That team, I think UND is completely given up, and they're really bad against the run, and that's exactly what USD wants to do. And as proven by us, they aren't good on the offensive line either, and USD's going to just shred them, and it's going to be terrible. There is potential. That's actually a fair argument, because if in this hypothetical situation where they were to lose, who said that it was a must-say?
McKinnell and Herder both have, and I agree. I mean, if they lose this one and they lose to NDSU as well, that will put them 6-3 in countable games, because you throw out the Wisconsin loss, but you also throw out the Northern State win. I mean, that's 6-3 with one ranked win. That's not impressive.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, I feel like if they take the eye test into account, obviously they'd be a playoff team,
right?
But I mean, a resume is a resume, man. We've tried to argue close losses in the past, and it doesn't always work out. So, yeah, it would be interesting if that
won't
happens.
Happen, but
right. I will also take USD to cover. I think, like you said, it's a bad matchup for UND. I think USD goes in and wins by 17-24. Next up, we've got another game with big implications in the Valley. Missouri State going to NDSU. NDSU is a 17.5-point favorite at home.
Model says Bison by 15.867. I don't know why we did 3 decimals, but I did. So Bears are going to cover. I don't know. This is another line I don't want to touch. There's a lot of different ways this game could go down, and 3 scores feels right. Gosh, I guess give me the Bison to cover, just because, as we talked about in the recap segment, Missouri State's defense is bad. I mean, Missouri State is, I think, a good team this year, but it's all their offense, specifically Jacob Clark and their receiving core. And I think NDSU has a very good defense who won't completely keep them off the board, but they'll slow them down. And Cam Miller and Barika Paynu and TK Marshall and Bryce Lance and all those other athletes on the NDSU offense are going to run all over the field. And I don't like it, but I do think the Bison cover 17.
NDSU is going to piss pound them. Like 17 that's an easy pick at 17.5 to me. I think they win by 21-28. Like,
here's your bulletin board material, Missouri State.
Yeah, print the shirts. It's over. Your little fantasy ride's over. Sorry. They played nobody in the Valley. They gave up 31 points. Hey, there's one other team that gave up 30-plus points to Murray State. Who was that?
Or UND.
Yeah, the United States Postal Service. What happened when they played NDSU or SDSU? Oh, that's right. They got beat like a drum. They are... And the other thing is, you don't want to be going into the Fargo Dome before you even set foot on the field. One-dimensional. You don't want to be. Missouri State's pretty much one-dimensional on their own. So now they don't even have to try to make you one-dimensional. You came in and gave it to them? No way. They are not keeping it within 17. No, it's going to just... We saw in person what happens when a good Missouri State team comes into that game all hyped up, and they got a chance to win the crown, and it's their highest ranked game. They're playing the one team, and then all of a sudden they get punched in the mouth and nothing happens, and they get shit rocked at home 3 years ago. I don't see a different identity with this Missouri State team. So give me NDSU to cover by whatever the hell they feel like.
Yeah, I mean, if this was at Missouri State, I'd give them a chance to cover that, but not in the Fargo Dome. Like you said, I think they just haven't played anybody. And NDSU, the games they've won convincingly, it's been by a lot. Most of them are at least 20 points. And so, yeah, I'll take NDSU to cover here. Of note, us three have picked the exact same up until now, except for I took Indiana State and you guys took Illinois State.
Oh, so, really?
Go Trees.
Model's either going to make some ground or just be completely in the hole this week.
Yeah. The model went against us quite a bit, so we shall see. Last but not least, we've got Southern Illinois coming to town, and they are 30.5-point underdogs at SDSU. What does the model say?
Are we doing our last JIAI first or after?
Oh, we might as well. I'll just go ahead and share it here. In honor of Stone joining us, I had to make a little
Adam Bach and Barack Obama's love child.
This is supposed to be Adam Bach putting Stone on a stretcher because Stone for some reason thinks that he can handle Adam Bach.
He just loves saying he could run through his.
I know, I love it. So I had to put that in there. That I think SIU is going to end up like Stone on that stretcher.
Yeah.
What did you say the line was, Ben?
30.5.
Once again, Model thinks it's a good line. Model says good guys, but by 29.8. So it's going to take SIU to cover just barely. I don't know. I think we cover here. It's senior day. You guys are going to go out with a bang. We're going to score some points. Southern Illinois. It's going to be one of those things. Southern Illinois gets down early. They've given up on the season. They get down 14 in the second quarter. They're giving up. And I think we'll just roll them.
Yeah, I mean,
they showed some fight last week.
Is it weird, Ben, that because you're dressed well, I have a hard time taking you seriously? Like this feels like a gag that you're pulling on us right now, and I can't take you seriously on this show.
I look like this at work every day.
Yeah. At work. I'm not here. I'm having oh man. You look at the number 30.5, and you're like, oh my God. That's just a lot of points and it makes you nervous. But I look at the way this team's been playing, the way the defense has been playing, the way the offense is starting to cook. It's going to be senior day. So far, it looks like it's going to be a real nice crowd. I got to take us to cover in this one. You know, get into the stadium early. I think that's something this senior class deserves. That's going through. I mean, they've been here from the start of the three-peat, and they were a big part. With Mark and Bach and all these guys have been a big part of setting the culture that has carried through to 2 straight national titles and working towards a third. We got to get in the Ben Witch project. That is perfect for what Ben just did.
I just plugged in my laptop.
Get in there, get there early. Show the seniors the support they deserve when they walk out there, and their families. Their families that show up to every game and have been a big part of the parents' tailgate and all that stuff as that got together. So I think that's a big deal for this game. But yeah, I look forward to, their offense is already one-dimensional. It's similar to Missouri State going in, except a worse version. And they're one-dimensional, slinging it around unless that quarterback gets really hot. Go ahead and take the Jacks cover in this one. Jesse saying like Stig trying to find a phone charger.
That's a good.
That's still all time.
That's a good reference for those that have followed
is
JI, specifically the A team, for a while.
Yep.
I still can't believe that it actually happened, but let's see here. Do you guys both took SDSU to cover here?
Indubitably.
Yep. Oh man, it's so many points. I'm really tempted to not, but I think I'll take SDSU to cover here. Their defense is just so good, and I think that we continue to see them dominate. SIU has a freshman quarterback that caught fire last week against Youngstown State, but before then he looked really bad. And I'm going to predict that Dallas Beanham gets at least 1 interception. And as a team, I think they get 2 or 3 interceptions. It's going to be ugly. It's not going to go well for the Salukis, the Fighting Stone Labanowitzes.
We're going to sock it to the Socklukis.
I love it.
I don't know if, just cleaning stuff up here at the end, if Matt has announced the giveaway winner yet. But we ended up with a couple additional tickets for our giveaway. So if you go to the main JI social media pages and find the post and comment your favorite seniors, if you need some tickets still, he's getting a drawing to win some free ones. If Matt has already done this or listened to this on Friday afternoon or later, completely disregard what I said.
Kevin says sock this. I would, but I got a bad back and I can't bend over that far anymore.
With that, where's Jim Poppin when you need him?
Yeah.
All right. I got to get going, boys. As always, go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Go Jacks.
Go Jacks.
Socklukis.